Blessings, everyone. May the blood of Yahweh cover this video. Okay, this has been crazy, actually. um, mm, I'm in awe. Okay, all right. Wow, okay. The last video that I did, the last message that I gave out, knocked me right out. I mean, knocked me right out. No, that was it. I was down. I got hammered. I did. With a sleep, a heavy, heavy, heavy sleep. I couldn't reach out to anyone. Um, I struggled in trying to get this video out, this message out. I struggled to read. All I could do was actually fall into this sleep. I'd be sitting there and my eyes would be closing on me, and I just was in awe that I could not function. So, um, this again is right after I did the last video, so that what's that, 5 days ago? Right? 5 days? And I am just bouncing back today. Today I think is the 25th or the 24th. And it's all due to thanks to Iris. Thank you, Iris, for your prayer. Because literally I could not move and I had a hard time reaching out. So, good to know. Lesson well learned. And the power of prayer is amazing. I bounced right back. Okay, so now I realize that this message is very serious, and it's definitely going to go out. Now, I brought up the battle I had with the reptilian and the gray. Now, I want to give this again in full so that you truly understand what I'm trying to say here as a foundation of the truth when it's dealing with these beasts. Now, when I was laying there, there was a arm, there was a claw that was coming down towards me. And as it got closer to me, the sensation got stronger and more intense. And I remember grabbing both my hands, and I grabbed the arm, the claw, and I was pushing this thing away from me with every force that I had in me, literally battling with this thing not to touch me. I would not allow this thing to touch me. And in the middle of that, it swings over to a gray, this little being that I recognize, and there's a pull in my belly button, a visible belly button. There's a pull of energy coming through. And I remember grabbing this, and I remember pulling it towards me, and I remember saying, "Oh no, you don't." And as soon as I say that, it disappears. It's gone. Everything that I was experiencing is now vanished. There's nothing. So the next day when I got up, the whole room looked a mess, and I had a waterbed frame with a mattress inside of it. And the mattress, just to give you an example, was outside of this frame, so it would have to come up and over. So all I could do was cry the next morning, just cry. Okay, so the next morning, all I can do was cry. And again, question, how did they get so close? Why? The why. But I was really burnt out, and it was a big, huge struggle. I didn't come back for a little while after that. But the way I would describe it, now you gotta understand that this happened to me in my middle 20s, late 20s, middle 20s. And through all of that, those years up until now, until I had given the testimony out, I don't remember anything dealing with the Greys or the reptilians after that, up until now with my brother. But that was the last big battle that I called this huge battle. Now, here it is getting really interesting because I'm led to give this testimony because of what's happened in Detroit with the meteors, right? And the things that I know and the pictures that I have that I was putting together with these blue beams. And this is when it pressed upon me to now come forward with the testimony of that battle with the reptilians and the Grey. And so I'm telling the testimony, I'm giving the testimony, but as I'm giving it, I'm getting an understanding from Spirit that, and a knowing that it was Jesus who entered into that room and banished that reptilian and the Grey in the midst of my battle, right in the middle of my battle. That this was Jesus. So that really now would complete my testimony that this is Jesus who's come in. But it went further in the understanding of it that he did exactly what he did when I was 12. When them, the beasts, came after me at the age of 12, like they said they would when I was 4, that they would be back. So at 12 they come and they attack me the way they did, and the sound that I know today is the same sound when I was attacked. Right? So again, calling on Jesus and not wanting to die, he banishes. So what happened to me that night when I was 12? I do not believe for anything that this was demonic that took place, that other people would assume or speculate, not knowing the facts and yet judge. I know and believe to this day that they were the beast and the Grey, separate from the demonic. So this is what the real reasons for bringing all of this forward is, to make sure that you're prepared, you've done all the right things, you've got your armor on, you know that when he says that, don't be afraid of their faces, you will know what he's talking about. And anything that's against him, I would suggest don't be afraid of their faces, whether it be a beast or whether it be an entity or whatever the case may be. Anything that is against God is against us, and that's all there is to it. And not to be afraid for whatever is that's going to be coming your way, and we deal with that at that moment. We now when people say, well, there's, you've got orbs, you've got familiar spirits. Okay, well, how far do you want to go with that one? Because again, I know that these reptilians, Greys, usually the Greys, the reptilians kind of stay back, but the Greys are on the forefront. But with the Greys, they do the most fooling around the house and spook you and this sort of thing. and bring about smells. They do the same thing, you know. When I was working on the illusion, this orb came to me in my house one day, and I was looking in the mirror, and I go to look to the left, and what do I see but a huge red ball hovering in the air.